Nashville sit-ins movement was a campaign that lasted from February 13th to May 10th in the year 1960. Its goal was to end racial segregation in a direct, nonviolent way. They mainly targeted lunch counters in the downtown district of Nashville.
During this time, the African Americans in Nashville, like in most southern cities, were extremely disadvantaged due to the Jim Crow laws, or laws that mandated segregation in virtually all spheres of public life. These laws promised separate but equal treatment, which was never given, and allowed racial discrimination to flourish across the country, especially in the South. At lunch counters and stores in the central business district of Nashville, blacks were allowed to shop in the stores, but not sit at the counters.
The sit-ins first began when a group of black civil rights activists decided that they had had enough. On March 26th to the 28th, the Nashville Christian Leadership Council held the first of many workshops to teach nonviolent ways and tactics to challenge segregation.
Many students at the American College Fisk University attended workshops. These students, the Nashville Student Movement, and the Nashville Christian Leadership Council began coordinating the sit-ins as their first target.
Here we are at Jubilee Hall at Fisk University, where students worked shifts and took turns sitting at counters to prove their point, that they deserve the same rights as everyone else. About 124 students, most of them black, went to downtown stores and restaurants and sat at lunch counters and asked to be served. After the servers refused to serve them, they sat in the stores for about 2 hours until they left without an incident.
Due to the incident, the movement gained the attention of the Baptist Ministers Conference of Nashville, which represented 79 congregations of the black religious community of Nashville. The community began boycotting the downtown merchants, who immediately felt the effects: economic hardship.
The sit-ins continued and only grew in number. On February 27th, there was a large sit-in at Woolworth's and McClellan's. The demonstrators were attacked, some beaten, and one threw down a flight of stairs. The police arrived and the white attackers fled and were not arrested. The demonstrators were told to leave. When they refused, the police arrested them and charged them with disorderly conduct.
This caused a rush of media coverage in the papers, on the radio, and television, and was even covered in the national news. As the sit-ins continued, more and more were attacked and arrested. The demonstrators remained nonviolent. Over a period of 4 months, over 150 of the students were arrested for refusing to vacate the stores. The trials for their arrests began on February 29th, and over 2,000 people lined the streets outside the courthouse to show their support. The students were defended by a group of lawyers led by Z. Alexander Luby. On April 19th at 5:30 a.m., Luby's home was bombed. The bombing did not harm Luby or his wife, who were sleeping in a bedroom at the back of their house. News of the event spread like wildfire, and at noon that day, 4,000 people marched to City Hall to confront Mayor Ben West about the violent incident. When they met the mayor on the steps, Reverend C.T. Vivian read a statement asking the mayor to stop ignoring the violence and injustice of segregation.
Diane Nash asked him if it was wrong to discriminate against skin color. He said no. And then she followed that with asking him if lunch counters should be desegregated. He followed that with yes, but then he said, that's up to the store managers, of course. Finally, after weeks of meetings between protesters and store owners, they reached an agreement. On May 10th, several downtown Nashville stores opened their lunch counters to African American customers. Slowly, more and more did the same, thus making Nashville the first desegregated major southern city.
Many of the Nashville sit-in demonstrators and students went on to become important leaders in the United States civil rights movement, such as Marion Barry, James Bevel, Bernard Lafayette, John Lewis, Diane Nash, and C.T. Vivian.